Who am I supposed to fall in love with? You follow your heart, dude.
Hello, and welcome to Outside the Fox, where we explore what's happening online and why it matters. My name's AJ Patel.
I'm Kim Horcher, and today we are exploring some nostalgia in the tech world all of 20 years ago. We're looking at that time of our lives, of the internet. AJ, do you remember your first AIM screen name?
AIM. That's
AOL Instant Messenger if you were young.
True. I had a bunch of them. I went through a couple of them, but the one that stuck the longest was Hot Streak 33.
Why?
It was a character from the old Static Shock show. Did you ever watch that cartoon?
Yes, with Phil Lamar.
Yes.
That's the main character.
Yes.
But I don't remember that character.
I had that for so long, and then as tech evolved and, AIM was no longer around, I just moved it to my Xbox gamer tag. Now it's my password. But
no,
do you
AJ,
remember your original?
How many times have I told you? Stop telling people your password.
They don't know which letters capitalized. It's fine.
They'll figure it out. It's not that hard.
Do you remember your original AIM name?
Yeah. My cousin told me, if you don't know a name, just put the word Lil first and then your name.
Yes.
But my name is Kim, so that's Lil Kim. And that was never my password, just to put that out there.
Luckily, today we have someone that can maybe kind of guide us through this nostalgia journey.
Yeah, nostalgia, it sounds like a nice thing to explore and think about, but how great is nostalgia really?
Right.
And for that, we are going to Brandon Borman from Mozilla. Welcome, Brandon.
Hi. That was the nicest way to call me old that I've ever heard. Thank you.
I don't think we did.
We'll see. We'll see which references you make here and there, and then we can decide that later.
Brandon, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I run the communications team at Mozilla, so we're the ones who figure out how we kind of introduce ourselves to the outside world, how we talk to employees, just telling the story of Mozilla and Firefox.
Things have changed a lot, but Brandon, what are some of the biggest changes that we've seen across the internet and technology?
It was just the Wild West. You had to go find your own place and your tribe. And so it was all over, bulletin boards and small chat rooms. And you'd kind of find the people who were interested in your one little thing and go deep with them and do whatever you want. And you didn't have to worry about everybody seeing it. And now everything's kind of out there in public and we all go to the same places to talk about stuff. It's very different. It felt weirdly more private and sort of intimate then than I think it does today.
Well, things have changed a lot, but we've lost and gained a lot. Yeah. Can you hit a couple highlights that you might like to bring up for that?
Yeah, the thing I always come back to about on the gain side is it's so much easier for anybody to get online. And that was a really rare occurrence back, even 20 years ago. Most of America wasn't online. So it's a very different world now when you can, and you can take the internet with you. Bring your phone, you're online, doing whatever you want. We used to be not just attached to the laptops, but there, if you didn't have a desktop and a screen, you couldn't do anything. So that ability for everybody to have access I think is the biggest change and the biggest benefit. But, I think the things that we've lost are, like I said, it was when the internet first started, it was easier to find your little corner of it and spend time there and get to know people and have fun. And it's rarer and rarer to find those small pockets of the internet. And everything now just feels like it's very visible and open to everybody.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that leading up to this episode, which, it felt like you knew where the few parties were. Either at a certain hour of the night, everyone would be on AIM, or when MySpace eventually came to be, everyone would be on MySpace. And then as more and more platforms came and, you could do different things on the platforms, it's like, what do I, where are the people that I want to engage with? What time do I get online? Do you find yourself kind of trying to find that pocket like you mentioned?
Yeah, and I do think it's getting harder and harder. I used to work at Twitter, and I think actually the reason Twitter succeeded was a very particular part of the audience. It was like Black Twitter at a certain time of night. It was like Twitter just became a completely different, more vibrant, exciting place. And when there was this weird, when Twitter was kind of, is it going to survive in like 2016, 2015? It was that element of that community that kept it alive and kept it interesting and exciting. And that kind of experience is harder and harder to find. Like it's just you don't have those things where everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to be in this one place at this time. Let's all get together and talk."
I think that's definitely true, and it's happening quickly now with we had appointment TV for a while.
Hmm.
Everyone's watching even Game of Thrones on HBO Sunday
Yeah.
night. And now that was not that long ago. And things are getting less zeitgeisty and a little bit more fragmented.
Did either of you ever use that app Path?
No.
No.
So this is an
Oh,
app
and we did it just like that. We found out how.
well, so this is an app like I'm actually nostalgic for. It was in like the early 2000s, and it was like a social network, but it was capped. I think you could only have 150 followers on there at most. And the idea was it was like your family and your best friends. And so you could do things on there and share things on there that you weren't comfortable sharing on Facebook. And so that's the only place online I ever put photos of my kids. I reconnected with people I worked with and like jobs in high school. And we were spending time talking about bands we used to go see live. It was fantastic. But I mean, you can only get to 150 people, and that everyone sort of wants the thing that like, what's going to make me famous? So I think it was sort of capped in what it could ultimately do. Everything now is about how do companies make money off of it? And when you've got small networks like that, it's harder to figure out how to make tons of money.
I agree with that wholeheartedly because it's become more about monetizing data than ever
Yeah.
before. And we've been kind of trained bit by bit to be more okay with giving up our data. And I remember my mom being like, don't give out any information online. Everyone is coming to get you.
Yes.
And it's just different.
She was right.
She is.
She was right. They're all here now. So Brandon, during your time at Mozilla, could you speak on kind of something that you've seen change over the years regarding maybe let's focus on data privacy right now. How much people have been willing to give up?
Yeah, so I've only been here 3 years, but I think even in that 3 years, especially with AI, I think people have become suddenly shockingly aware of how much data about them is out there and how little control they have over it, right? I think you've seen it more with artists and photographers who are suddenly seeing their images they put up online being pulled into LLMs to train the model on how to build images. And I think for people who have been even half paying attention, that sort of was this wake up moment of, oh my God, all this stuff that I have put out there about myself is probably being used by someone else to build something. And I don't get a benefit out of it. They don't let me know. I don't get to say yes or no. And I think that awakening that's really happened just in the last couple of years has been pretty interesting to watch. I think the question is it like, what do we do about it? Is it too late? Is there something we can do? I think the economics have got to shift a little bit so that those of us who are creating things and putting data online, we have to be compensated in some way, right? And there's got to be some clearer exchange in value than there is right now.
Do you see elements of maybe the better parts of the old internet maybe coming back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I spent a little bit of time in the Web3 crypto world, and I was less interested in it from the money side and more interested from the decentralization side. Which if you get past like the Trump and Melania meme coin stuff, the decentralized, I know it's hard to get past it, but the decentralization piece is really interesting. And that's where you start to see like, oh, there could be a different way forward where a handful of billionaires don't get to control all of this because it'll be spread out. We'll all control things. We'll all understand where our data is going. And so I think more and more folks are out there building things where you as an individual really have control. And I think that's super exciting. And I hope that that accelerates in the coming years.
Truly, I do too.
Yeah, because like if you walked up to someone on the street and you told them I don't use the internet,
Oh, I wouldn't talk to you anymore.
right?
Unless you were elderly.
There's that connotation to it where it's like, oh, you're not on the internet. You're strange. Like
You're up to
something.
something.
Yes, you're
I think
definitely
you're
up to something.
lying.
You also have to put your data into so many other forums, whether it's like, oh, I need to rent a car. Okay, I need to give them my information on this. I need to book a plane ticket. I'm going
Well,
to do
it's
this.
not even that. It's like people like, oh, here's me as a little kid, and here's
Yeah.
me now, and let me fill out this fun quiz about where I live and
Yeah.
who my mom is and what her name used to be.
it would be so difficult to avoid giving any of your personal data throughout like the span of, let's say, a month, a year,
Oh
without
yeah.
being a complete, someone that's just living in the forest and not in touch with civilization. So I feel like this data privacy thing has just become, it's broken out of the internet and it's everywhere.
Look, you can't even own a car and turn the car on without having an account you sign up for.
So do you think the internet, I'll throw this to you, Brandon. Do
Yeah.
you think the internet is in a better place?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, I'm an idealist, and so I mean, it's funny because most people think I'm a pessimist, but I'm actually an idealist, and I do think the internet has overall made things better. I do think what's challenging is, I think about something like Vine, which people all always have just nothing but love and like, oh, I miss Vine. It
Yes.
was the thing. I think part of the reason we have that nostalgia for Vine is it died before people knew how to make money off of it. So it was
Guys
just people,
Hero.
it was just people's creativity. They were just doing it because it was fun and they wanted to make people laugh and it was fun. And I like the early days of TikTok were kind of like that. But TikTok today, everything today is about how do I get the followers? How do I get the money? And so that cycle of like creativity leading into commercialization is happening faster and faster today. And somehow we've got to break that piece of the internet a little bit. Give people more space just to go have fun and not worry about how are we all going to make money off of this thing.
That sounds so nice.
Did you ever think you'd see the day that the internet turns into the place where the news is?
I guess I always assumed news would move online. I think what I probably, in retrospect, didn't expect was that the news being, certain publications and certain titles, that they would become so much less important than they are, right? Because the news was always this kind of like gatekeeper thing. There's certain people and they read it, they do the investigation and they write the pieces and there's the news. And now it's sort of everybody. And so that change I really wasn't expecting. And I don't know that that was entirely good. I think we're in the middle of like the chaotic period of everyone can report now and everyone's got an opinion and it'll start to shake out slowly and as people get smarter about how to understand this stuff. But the how dramatic that change was not something I was expecting.
The shift of not even being correct, just being first to get those clicks, to get those views.
I
I
mean, I
know
could
that
talk to you
kills
about
you
this all
inside.
day
Yeah, I
because I
know
started in
that.
traditional journalism and I saw
Right.
it change before my eyes.
You were talking about media and kind of the internet as a like an art form. And I do think that that is like that's something I kind of miss that people did approach it as like, the internet's like a canvas you paint on, and it was just a place to go and be an expressive, and that part of it has kind of fallen away, and now it's like it's just how do I maximize my cash?
I'm sure that pocket is still out there of people that just create to create and put it out there. But then
It's
if
hard
they
for me
don't get
to,
any views and you
yeah.
don't get any likes, like where does that video go? How does it make it in front of more eyes without you paying for ads or paying the machine to boost your content? Sometimes I love watching like when a big streamer or a big YouTube channel kind of always has like this flow of, smaller streamers or because it reminds me of how movies were. Brandon, you mentioned is where movies used to come out like, for example, one of my favorite stars growing up was Will Smith.
Sure.
And every July 4th, you'd get a movie out of him. Okay, boom, here's this one movie from him. I won't see him for another 364 days. And now it's to the
There's no way that's true, but okay.
right, but now it's to the point where I see this guy every single time I open up my news feed, and it's like I've grown tired of this. Where is that new class of talent and that
So
flow of
you're
people?
missing the cachet of an elusive celebrity.
The rarity, or even just like who was I supposed to fall in love with after this? What has
Who am I supposed to fall in love with?
like
You follow your heart, dude. What are you talking about?
Valentine's Day is still in the air.
No, but
Sorry about
it's like
that.
I get there was something special about stuff when you didn't have access to it all the time, and now you have access to it all the time, and it's hard for things to feel special anymore because it's just always there, all there. You can find it If you've got a favorite movie, you can watch it anytime you want. If you've got favorite songs, you can listen to them anytime you want. There's always something new. So nothing feels quite as special because it doesn't have the time to just sort of sit there with you.
Isn't that just the ultimate eventuality of the early days of the internet when we were, making MySpace pages and putting on our own song and dabbling in HTML for the first time and maybe only time? I mean, it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I don't know that there's a way to go back to it unless you really try and enforce it on yourself. But that idea of like this thing in this moment of time is super important, and I just want to sit with it for a little bit. I think as human beings, we've kind of lost that ability.
Oh,
I
it's
do.
on to the next immediately.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean in terms of attention spans?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just attention span. It's even just like emotionally being able to process something fully. It's like something hits you, you're like, this is super exciting. I got my, endorphin hit, and now I'm going over to the next thing to get the next hit, and you don't have the time to sort of let it all process.
I also love to think about like how our parents may have been with us while we were discovering the internet and growing up with it versus how we may be with kids. We see what it is now, all this data, all, the attention span piece. What does it do for your actual brain? So something I'm still, I won't know until later, but have you experienced any of this?
Yeah, I've got an 11-year-old and 10-year-old, and
Okay.
we've been really hesitant to like give them their own. They just got their first iPads for Christmas because we started to realize,
Great.
yeah. Well, we started to realize like that maybe we were going to be holding them back by not letting them know how to use these things. But I've got them pretty well locked down, and I'm clear that like your messaging is not private right now because I can look at it if I want to. Or, our son's got a PS5, and we were really hesitant at first to let him do stuff online, but letting him connect with his friends, it's actually been really cool to watch him play Madden with his friends from school and listen to them talk to one another while they're playing. And so that part of it I actually really love as a parent because it like there is a sort of social piece where they keep the in-person stuff going at home when they're online, and that part's been great. But I am trying to be really disciplined myself and making sure that they do that.
I have a nephew, and sometimes when I can't entertain him any longer, I'll put those YouTube videos on of like
No, you can't.
someone. Oh, I know.
No.
Someone's building like a Lego set, and my brother-in-law kills me for it. He's like, "No, we can't have him watching this because I don't. Something about the idea of like it'll cap this person's creativity. Like we can't just have this person fall in love with anytime they get bored. They just have this, this thing to just stick
Getting
to.
bored is a good thing because
Yeah.
it
Yes.
forces you to create and do and be
Yeah.
Just be.
instead of consume.
No, that you just hit on it. Like that's exactly what I think when people are nostalgic for the past and the internet of the past, that's exactly what it is. Like you could still be bored, you could still just be. That's what people miss.
Brandon, do you have any early internet memories that stick out in your mind?
I remember the day I discovered Napster.
Oh,
And it was really weird because I had spent a lot of time working at a record label and in record stores. And I just remember sitting there looking at it the first time and being like, oh my God, it's all right there. I mean, in retrospect, I feel a little guilty because it was, taking money out of artists' hands. But at the time, it was the most exciting thing that could possibly have happened.
I mean, you had to buy a whole album at that time. And what if there's only one or two good songs?
Yeah.
I'm not saying do it. I'm just getting into his rationality. AJ, talk about something else now.
Well, hey, Brandon, we really appreciate you joining us today. This was super insightful. Is there any last minute nostalgia that you could think of that you want to share with us?
Just enjoy discovering stuff. Like everything's through an app now, which actually perversely makes it harder to discover things. Like spend time online, just randomly go to websites. I stumbled upon it. Like you just randomly run across a website and be like, oh my God, what kind of weirdo did this? This is really exciting. So just discover things.
Well, we all have our favorite and opposite of favorite memories of the early internet. Please let us know what yours are. Thank you all for joining us. Subscribe to the channel and be sure to download Firefox because you know it's the best. We'll see you next time.